Devon LARRATT is already down to 236 pounds early morning weight. In the evening he is still above 240, but looks like he has left the super heavyweight division forever. I am returning to my proper place, my proper health level and proper physique. I am gonna stop trying to be something that I'm not. I am gonna fight people my same size and same structure. So why do I think he has left it for good? Because even while mentioning a match against Travis Bagent, Devon was initially saying that now Travis is making a comeback when Devon decided to leave the super heavyweight division. So he has left it for good because he's not even willing to fight Travis Bagent under these current circumstances and in his current shape. So that should tell us something. Although he did say a couple of things afterwards which still kind of indicate that maybe after a few years he may think about returning to the super heavyweight division. First one was the match against Travis Bagent left and right arm is inevitable. So he will be having that super match provided Travis is still arm wrestling and he's still at a good level. Or maybe even if he isn't at a good level, because when Devon had a practice pull with Travis a couple of years ago, he is still counting that as a victory over Travis and he almost wants to include that in their win and loss record. So yeah, it wouldn't matter to Devon if Travis is in a good shape or not. And naturally there are many questions from Engin Terzi and some others about how much strength Devon is going to lose if he cuts to 105 kilos, and he's already very close to that because he's already way below 115 kilos. And Ivan Matyushenko even went as far as to say that Devon will get destroyed at 105 kilos. We'll discuss that news later in this video. But Devon said that no matter how much weight he loses, even if he goes below 100 kilos, around 95 kilos, still he will be holding about 95% power of what he had in the Levan Saginashvili match. That number seems impossible to believe, but if that is true, then everyone is going to be in trouble against Devon LARRATT. But just like many other people, I also believe that the proof isn't there because when Devon was 105 kilos, we did not see complete domination from him. Although when he was a little bit heavier, we did see some domination around 2008 to 2010, but not when he went to the lighter weight categories afterwards. So maybe he does lose a lot of strength after cutting weight. Only time will show. And we know Travis always says that he was the reason why Devon was cutting weight to 225 pounds. If he wasn't there, Devon would be participating in the super heavyweight division. Now Devon has completely flipped the coin. Now he says that Travis was the one who has always been dodging him. When he became number one, Travis wasn't there. When he became a super heavyweight and started defeating the Europeans recently, Travis wasn't there. A few days ago, when I mentioned in one of my videos that Devon was just kind of joking around when he was saying that he could have done something to Levan if there wasn't any rule against a declined shoulder in a neutral or losing position. A king's move in Devon's case, round 1 against Levan Saginashvili. I added those words by myself because I thought he was genuinely joking about that. He did not want it to be that way. But apparently I was wrong because he called up Engin Terzi to discuss some rules. This wasn't a part of the discussion that Devon had in his mind prior to calling Engin, but they did discuss this rule, trying to convince everyone that there shouldn't be a rule against this. He said that at a professional level, you should be allowed to break your arm, and that's why you should be allowed to go as much under the table as you want in a king's move, even in a losing position. Then obviously Engin Terzi did not agree with that because finally and fortunately the arm wrestling fans are happy that after years of complaining and thrashing events and referees, this rule is getting followed now. And if Devon wants it to be back to what it already was about 5 years ago, then he'll have to do a lot of convincing. Nobody is just going to agree like that. Devon said that there are some leagues that don't follow this rule. And Engin's reply, which was awesome, was, "That's why I have the best league in the world." And let's discuss what are those leagues that Devon is talking about. Clearly, there is a rule against what Devon is mentioning in WAF, and there is a rule against it in East versus West and also King of the Table. I think WL also introduced a similar rule towards the end, but they are long gone now. So all of the 3 major leagues in the world do have that rule. and Devon doesn't compete anywhere else. So I'm not sure which organizations he was talking about. And once again, some more comments about Brian Shaw from Devon LARRATT. When asked if Brian can legit challenge Levan Saginashvili in a couple of years, Devon took a long pause and then he said yes. That's really crazy, because nobody believes that in a couple of years Brian Shaw can be at that level. I would say that someone who can beat Levan Saginashvili in just a couple of years as a beginner, that guy would destroy someone like Larry Wheels, for example, the first time he hears the word arm wrestling. He would destroy guys beyond Larry's level the first time he ever arm wrestles, and I don't think Brian Shaw is at that level. I don't think anyone can progress in the sport of arm wrestling so fast. Devon also discussed a protest rule with Engin Terzi, and I 100% agree with Devon here. There should absolutely be a protest rule, and the simplest explanation is you have one protest per match. If your protest is right, if the referee was wrong, you get to retain that protest. But if you're wrong, then you lose it for the entire match. And Engin's argument against that was, what if the referee is wrong once again? Then you won't have the protest. So he was like, if I feed you once and you start getting hungry once again towards the night, then better I not feed you even once. I don't think that logic works here, because something is better than nothing. If we give the athletes multiple protests, they're obviously going to misuse it. So the perfect rule is right there, and Engin should definitely implement it. I'm not sure why it isn't there already, because the athletes are protesting. There's just no rule about that. Michael Todd protested in a couple of matches. Some others protested as well. Devon was particularly concerned about this rule because he would have protested in the first round against Gennady Quickvinia if there was any such rule. If you have not purchased the East vs West Challenger Series pay-per-view yet, these are the matches that are going to take place. If Travis Bagent vs Derek Smith is not enough for you guys, if James English vs Auden Larratt is not enough, if Matt Mask vs Brad Grundy is not enough, then maybe you should watch a couple of podcasts on Chan Shaw's channel. That will give you enough information if you want to purchase this pay-per-view or not. But I think for $15, it is a really good card. There is nothing in this world that we can compare to East versus West cards, but this is as good as it gets if we talk about arm wrestling promotions in North America. Further, Devon also mentioned that he believes that Leonidas Arcona will defeat John Brezink. Others did not quite agree with this thought, but at least I completely do. I think Leonidas Arcona's pronation towards the later rounds and specifically his endurance is going to be way too much for the GOAT. And finally, some serious comments about Devon LARRATT from Ivan Matyushenko. Devon will be destroyed at 105 kilos. At 115, he will almost be the same in strength because he can just water cut from 120. But at 105, I think Devon can lose to a lot of people because for his anthropometry, 105 kg is very little. I think side pressure will disappear completely, only King's move will remain. And I kind of do agree with this because Devon does not seem to be the same guy that stopped Levan Saginashvili and took his wrist round 1. Because he's looking much lighter, and I know that he's standing next to Brian Shaw, so the same version would have also looked really small. But he's looking different, and it's almost impossible to retain the same amount of strength once you are just not looking like the same human being that you once used to be. Devon did say that he will be about 95%, but that seems to be a huge number. His King's move is a frankly cheating move. I wish the referees would not let his shoulder fall below the table. It turns out that Devon breaks the rules every single time, and the referees are fine with it, especially in the first round. He likes to do something like this. So yeah, maybe he's talking about the Evgeny Prudnik match or Levan Saginashvili match. Other than that, Devon was perfectly fine with the shoulder, with the rules. So what are your comments about Devon dropping to those weight categories? Can David Dadikian beat him? And most importantly, can Ivan Matyushenko now beat him? Is he saying that just to book a match against Devon LARRATT, both left and right arm? Because that would be the biggest money opportunity for Ivan in his entire career. If it is because of that, then I don't mind. I would just like to see that super match. But for sure, I would also like to believe that Devon will definitely run into some trouble when he's trying to get the 105 kg title. Or maybe even 115 kg, but although that seems to be not so difficult for Devon LARRATT as of now. Mention your thoughts in the comment section, like the video and subscribe.